that really makes me feel really, it's hard to explain. I feel um, a warmth of love from everyone. So thank you for being here or appreciating what I'm doing, because this is a really important thing for me to get back into, getting back into things. Here I am over here. How you going? So this is a bunch of seeds and legumes and tubers. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at this. I'm going to turn the light on, so we got the other light, so we've got more light. But that's a taro tuber. There we go, that's made a bit more light. So I'll plant this today because it's started off, and I've noticed some of the ginger in here's started to strike, which is great. And what have I got here? I've got a whole bunch of seeds I got recently. So what I've got to do is make a plan for what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to break up, I'm going to sort these seeds out before I do anything with them into different parts of the garden, and then take those seeds to the different areas so I know what I'm planting. And it's going to make things a lot easier, and I'll plan out what I'm doing a little bit better. So I could get the noteboard and write stuff down, or I could just sort of roll with it. Also, I've got these mustard greens, which the seeds, so I've got I can process some of these. So as you can see, like the seeds are just falling out of this, so I've got to be careful not to lose too many of them. So yeah, I'm doing a bunch of things. What are we going to do? We're going to start with, what I'll do is I'll get some cups or containers. I've got these cups here, but I will reuse these in perpetuity for seeds and things. So I was taught about the seed cups, and this is a slight variation of it, as I'll be taking these cups full of different seeds, and these will represent the different parts of the garden. So we'll go we'll make this, actually what I'll make this easier, I'll lay these cups out in a way that represents the footprint, you know, or of the property, and then that way in the orientation of where everything is. So I'll make that bottom garden up the back, on the side, the main section down the side, and this one can be for the community garden. So I'll put this one over here. Okay, so actually I might this taro tuber I might actually cook. So I'll leave this out and I'll cook this one. Make a meal out of it. So maybe I mean this is obvious one. It's already planted. It's already striking. So I'm going to put this in this cup over here. That's for, and I'm going to put a bunch more taro puffs there. A lot of these ones might be too small to actually have much happen. You know what? I'm going to not worry about the community garden. I'm going to use this one for the bottom garden because that's where the bulk of things are going to be. There we go. That answered that one. Now I have ginger here. Has anyone joined yet? Yeah, we've got someone here. Awesome. As I'm doing this, I'll be checking the chat and interacting. So if anyone has anything to chat about, you know, I'm here. I'm going to put one piece of ginger there. I'm going to save the rest of the ginger for community garden. I'm going to make a pile here for the community garden. What else we got? Yeah, more community garden. Oh, actually, no, I'll find another place up in the this is overflow for the bottom garden. Oh, that is. I'm going to find some places for this ginger in the top garden. I guess the next thing I could do is process these mustard green seeds. This is awesome. They're just falling out. So with something like this, I can just walk around and just tap them on the ground. Just do that and they'll just, the seeds will just fall out and then they'll strike where if they are in the right place. I'm not, when I sweep this up, I don't care about the seed husks, because the main thing what I'm doing here is just breaking them out of the husks. So you can see one there that's had the husks. Oh, awesome. There's two people here. How you going? Hope you're doing well. So this is the really good thing about saving seeds. This is mustard greens that just basically were growing in my in our plot at the community garden, and we got lots of food from it as it was growing, and then now that it's gone to seed, we've got lots of seed. So I still have quite a bit of this left, of which I will be doing this, but not going to plant it. I will be basically saving it for next year because it's now nicely dried. Hope everyone's doing all right. The good thing about doing this right now, it's getting me motivated. It's keeping me motivated. and it's invigorating me to keep doing what I'm doing. So I don't know if you can see these. See all these, there's all these, I could separate some of these husks quite easily, but I've got hundreds and hundreds of seeds here that have just, they're like little tiny, they look like little cockroach poos. I could use a brush here. Let's see. Oh, I won't worry about that. I have a brush right here, but and you can see these are ball shapes, and they just roll around, and they travel. So this plant, these mustard greens, it's a great plant to grow because there's lots of different versions of them. But yeah, they've got a great mustardy sort of flavor, and you can cook it like, you can eat it raw like a lettuce, put it in salads. You can eat it, you can stew it, which is really good, and lots of things. So what I'm going to do is, I was going to do this on a tray, but I wouldn't have to do this then, but that's all right. Now there's lots of different ways of separating husks from seeds, but I don't mind if some of the husks are there. It's just separate some of it out. Now, I'll just leave that pile there, I think. Oh no, I'll clean it up. I'll find another container for that. Measuring cup. Why not? You can hear the sound of all the seeds hitting it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually distribute these into a little bit into all the cups so that I can get a reasonable, I'm just putting a pinch, I'm just going to sprinkle these around the whole place. So once I've taken out all the other seeds, probably the bulk down the bottom garden, and then I'll leave what's there. So next thing, I've got some daikon radish seeds, and these are, I can just keep these like this until I'm ready to plant them, and that's probably what I'll do for some of it. But yeah, I'm just gonna, I hope the light is all right. I might see if this makes it better. Yeah, that's probably much better. There we go. And you can probably see the seeds. So doing this sort of stuff is such a meditative process. I mean, it's very similar to the processing of, you know, if this was food, if these were peas or beans, then this could be something that you then eat that day or the next day. So you're participating in the process of food. Now, I don't want too, like this is good doing it like this because I don't want too many daikon radishes. They're going to be good for, you know, protecting other plants around. And so just cracking them open. You know, I could do this in a more sort of forceful way and, you know, sieve them or do the classic husk, blowing the husks away in the wind. You know how they separate the wheat from the chaff type seed separation. Oh, those ones are no good. And this is how you get to know the plant, and you get to see what's, you know, for instance, these 2 seed pods here, I don't know, there might be something in there. No, oh, there is. Yep. There we go. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. And if you're not having an awesome day, I hope you can be here with us and we can turn it into an awesome day. Because, you know, life's not easy. And I guess we make it better, you know, because that's what it's all about. Is just the thing I find is doing stuff like this. I might start off in a, like, it's been really tough for me lately with a lot of things, and you know, doing stuff like this it gives me purpose, it gives me hope. The more things I plant in the ground, and I've now got these plants everywhere down at the garden and here in the garden. Now I've never owned property, and it's always been difficult for me to have a garden. So look, if you don't have a space for that, there's ways around it, you know. You can grow stuff inside your house in jars, in just cups, glasses, or you know, you can propagate, and then there's lots of options. So, but there's barriers. A lot of people have barriers to planting or growing things, and once you separate from the fear of like what it is, and look, things are going to fail. That's just going to be part of it. But you know what? Things are going to grow and things are going to work. So it's all about, you know, understanding that expectations, you know, it's good to have some expectations, but the best thing is like, you know, you put in effort and then you get these amazing returns, you know. So these were some of the seeds from the permaculture course that I got. So I collected these from there was a huge daikon plant that had gone to seed. Now daikon radish grows very different to other radishes. It grows quite tall. So it serves a purpose in the garden beyond its own food. You know, it shades a little bit. It's not a very super shading thing, but it's going to give a bit. So I'll be checking the chat. Here we go. Book Dove Reads is here. Awesome. Good to see you here, Book Dove. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Welcome. Mustard seeds are good for cooking too. I like them on baguettes. Yes, there you go. I just got one of those ones and tested to see what it tastes like. It's not super strong mustardy, because these ones are not a type of mustard to be grown specifically for the seed, but the it's got a nice taste to it. Actually, these have got a really nice taste. This has got a almond macadamia nut. I'm gonna try another one, and I think if you roasted these, they'd have it, or put these in cooking. These would be great in stir fries. But this is actually daikon radish seed. I just ate then, so that wasn't the mustard green. But the mustard greens, what I was talking about was the mustard green seeds are very small, so they don't, you wouldn't get much. You'd have to like basically have like heaps of it. But it, you know, generally the mustard that you use for making mustard is bigger seeds. See, look, that seed pod still had something in it. I'll keep checking the chat. One thing that I wish is that the chat just stayed on the screen. It keeps disappearing. And if you're live streaming and you're using a phone, I'm constantly having to press the button just to see what people are saying. I shouldn't have to do that. I mean, I don't want it to just disappear. I could have done this so much faster, but you know what? I'm enjoying doing it like this. You know? Anything you do like this, you start off a certain way, and then as you're doing it, you develop a method. You develop a new method or your own method. You know, I can do that. I can just crush it on the ground. There we go. It's another way. This is going to be good. And so I'm going to distribute all of these. These fine seeds will be distributed into a sprinkle. I'm just going to be sprinkling these around, and so it'll just be potluck to see what grows, and then that way I can easily know where in the future this plant will thrive. I haven't done any research into propagation or how techniques for planting, you know, when to plant daikon. I'm just going to plant it. I'm only using a small part of the seeds I've got, so I'm going to save the rest for later. I suspect it's all year round, but because I live in a subtropical environment, it may not be. You know, radishes are generally fast growing. I think the daikon is fast growing, but it still takes much longer to mature than you know, the European radishes. Here we go, one more. Last one. I'll keep checking the chat, but I'm sort of busy doing this, so. How's everyone going today? Hope everyone's doing good. See, look at this husk. There's all the husk. Right, there it is. You know, I'll try and I might put the camera in a better spot or something, but you know, today's just sort of like haphazard. I'm sort of doing it as I go. I could have got everything set up first, but sort of, I guess, you know, this is just the way it is. Okay, so what next? So we've got our cups that we're starting. Okay, so I'm going to put some daikon down here. I'm going to put some up there, and then some there, and then some there. And I might, what were they? I'm just putting the remainder here, just in this container up the back. So I might plant some of these down at the community garden because they might just go well. Okay, what else have we got? Here's one of my boxes of, I'll pick up the camera and I'll point it in there. So these are like a survival. So I'm not going to plant all of them. Here's one that's opened up. You can see the seeds. I switched it to just Wi-Fi only. Hopefully that works around the house. I'm going to have to switch to the mobile as well. And that seems to be the thing that's a little bit slower. It just depends on the day and on all that sort of stuff. So I don't know what you saw before, but I've got these heirloom legumes. So I'm separating them out. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these in their seed pod and break them apart when I'm at the place where I'm going to plant them. So I'm going to put one down bottom garden. I'm going to put two here. And then I'm going to put, what I might do is I will break this up. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? Oh, it's a bad light here. I'll try and, maybe I'll put the camera from the other side. How's that? Let's see what that's like. It might, yeah, that's much brighter. Look at this. So I'm not going to put any more. I've already put quite a bit in here. So if you've just joined, what I'm doing is I'm putting seeds in different parts of the garden. Each cup represents a zone or a part of the garden. This is like a South American cherry, or it's like a berry. It is amazing, and they grow on the trunk of the tree. I don't know the name of it, but I'll get its name. But we're not planting them today. I'm just going to dry them out. Keep drying them out because they grow into a tree. Now what else have we got here? Oh yeah. These ones, I'll plant one of these in the bottom garden, one of these on the side. These are like a native tobacco, so I'm gonna they're beneficial for a lot of things. So it's not for use, but for the benefit of the garden. That's its sort of main purpose. So what have we got here? We got, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put these pods in there. This is good as I'm doing this, I'm cleaning up my collection of seedlings. Here we go. I don't know if you can see here. This is just like a mix bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a whole bunch of these different things in. You know what? I'm not going to put it all. I'm going to separate these out now. Okay, so what have we got here? We've got parsley and spring onion, and what I might do is I might just separate the parsley out, and oh no, this bean looks like it was sitting in the wrong thing, and it started to. I'm definitely going to plant this today because, as you can see, it's gotten mold on it, so these might not be viable. Let's see. We'll open them up. No, they're great. Look at that. Actually, these are pigeon pea, but they do look. The seeds look very different to these ones here, so it's a different variety. But this stuff is very hardy. Actually, most of them I should put in these 2 zones. So there's more there. No, that's it. This is all I got. So hopefully, these ones are no good. So good. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? All right. Do I sound like Bob Ross, everyone? We'll get some nice. There we go. Spring onions. You know, these outer husks, I think you can get just as much good opportunity as just having one of these seed heads and just breaking it up and throwing it on the ground, because these little husks, you know, when they get wet, they become these perfect sort of protectors for the seed as it germinates. But see, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that. So this has still got, you know, 10 seeds or whatever. I'm just going to keep that, and then basically at another place or another time. Actually, I'll put these over in that one. There you go. So I'm separating out as much seed as I can, and then what's left, there you go. I really should get a brush, make it easier. Just give me a second. Again, you know, there's probably 5 or 6 seeds in amongst here. So what I'll do is I'll just like, I'll keep these and still, but I'm not going to spend all that time trying to get the seeds out of it. What have we got here? See that? That was just a little bit of air. So, you know, I could be using a dish or something like that, and then that would at least catch the I'll show you. Humans have been doing this forever. That's a great thing about doing this stuff. It's we're reconnecting to our roots, you know, things that have been sort of taken from us, just taken back. Okay, I'm not gonna I'll put a few there. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this. These two are the bottom section of the garden, and this is up the side, which is a little bit drier. And these sections are dry here, and then this is the very back sort of corner where I did a lot of planting. Some of so I'm not going to waste these ones here, but I'm going to put them up here, and then so they're mustard seeds. I don't know about these. I should have checked. I don't want to, I mean, it's better me to just keep these and to plant another time rather than to waste them all. So I'm not going to put too much in. Yeah, here we go. I'll check the chat again. Oh, what's it look like inside the cups? Here, I'll get the light. So, just different mixtures. This one you can see, and you can see what's got more. This one's already got a lot planted, these two upper sections. So there's not much in it. So there's ginger. You can't really see the seeds. I got to get. I just don't want to move the camera too much because it makes. So if I take the ginger out. You can see what's in the bottom there. And so that's just a mixture of 5 or 6 different things. So what I do is I'll go through and start with the biggest stuff and then move to smaller. These ones here, this is like an Inca. These are ancient. It's like an Inca squash, and they look like watermelons. These look like watermelons, but they're a squash, and they come from South America. I'm going to try one down the, I'll try one down there in the bottom garden. What I'll do is I'll just keep a bunch in there. I've got 4 more, which are, and I mean, I could just, I don't want to, these are ones I collected, I was given, so I'll keep them like that and plant them. I'll keep a few of them, you know what I mean? And what I'll do is I'll clean this up now. So these are pigeon pea seeds. These are like good, hardy. They're going to really work well. They grow into a semi-shading plant, so that still allows air. And actually, I'm going to plant a bunch up the back. So you can see here, this is spring onion, pigeon pea, and those squash, South American squash. So I'm happy to just put that back in this bag now. I think I've got what, you know what, I'm gonna, that's real, this is where, these two sections here is where I really want the pigeon peas, so I'm gonna, and up the back section, because it gets very hot here in summer, and it's good that it gives wow, actually I'll show you. There's thousands of seeds here in the bottom section here, so sorry for that tap sound, I hope it wasn't too loud. I don't know if you can see these, I'm just gonna pick these up. Need another container now because I want to separate out. And they're the spring onion seeds. So yeah, pigeon pea, very nutritious. And the other one over there is similar, very similar. The ancient one. I'm going to put a few more. So here is another mixture of, this is a mixture of parsley and spring onion. They're parsley. Wait, I'm confused. Yeah, no, they are. Anyway. Another container. Thousands and thousands of seeds right here. They're so tiny. So, you know, seeds like that, you don't plant them in the ground. You just sprinkle them on top. You make sure the seed bed is going to be good for them. And that's all you need to worry about. So, just there's amazing. We're getting through it. What next? That almost fell on the ground. I've got to be careful here. What I might do is I want to plant a bunch of taro down at the garden, so I'm going to separate that stuff out. Not too much. Okay, this is an old collection of seeds. Of just, you know, whenever you've got stuff, you have a seed collection. And I'm only just learning. There's so much to learn. Okay, snake bean. No, they're not snake bean. I forget. This is another bean. I'm going to plant these down at the garden because the one I did have. That is, there's citrus there. Actually, that's good. I'll use this bag for this lot. This basil I bought, not basil, spinach, and I haven't had much success from that, so I'm I'm not going to waste my time with it. There, I'm going to try it in a seed. Here we got some, why not? Here we got some red pepper. I think I'll try my luck just sprinkling some of these around. I might sprinkle some of these down in the bottom garden, that middle garden that we worked on, we were there together. There's pumpkin. I do have pumpkin seeds, but you know what? I'm gonna. Oh no, what does it say? Habanero. Yes, I do have plenty of habanero, but I'm not going to plant these pumpkins because I've bought apparently a good strain of these. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. Look at these seeds here. These are the seeds I just bought. Here we go. Look at the difference between these seeds, and these are from a, so you know, like, you don't always get good stuff from a seed place, but this is, you look at the difference, commercially grown and purchased ones. So that difference could just be, you know, well, it's okay. So I bought these from a seed place that's down in a different state. So it's a different environment, but it's similar to here. But this is a variety that comes from my local area. I don't want to necessarily grow these two at the moment and then, you know, have them crossbreed. Maybe I'm going to try to get every single one of these to grow. These are the pumpkins which are going to go in the backyard, so I'm going to put them there, and I'll think about what I do here. I do have quite a few habaneros going, but I'm just going to sprinkle some around. See what happens. What else have we got here? Okay, these are some of the medicinal ones. They're avocado seeds in there. I don't think I'm going to plant any of these today because sage, mustard greens. Yeah, and you can see these mustard greens are much bigger. The mustard greens that I had, there's so many different varieties of mustard greens, and they all have slight variations. So holy basil, there's nothing in there. That's empty. Stinging nettle, lavender, English, Korean mint, fenugreek. Oh, I might sprinkle a few fenugreek. That's too many. I don't want this one here is for that middle garden. So I don't. Oh, I've got chamomile. I don't know. I'm going to save that. And I got anise. So these ones I'm going to be creating some good soil potting mix, seedling propagation mix, or seed raising mix of soil, and I'll be trying to get as much out because those seeds are old. So I'm going to grow them in a controlled environment and then transplant the seedlings. I'll check the chat because I'm here. Here we go. So a lot of these, again, I'll be planting in, not in a seed bed, but in a seed tray. And then, so these are the seeds I just got. So I'm not going to plant But what I will do is separate out anything that I will be planting in the ground. Spinach, I'll read them out. I've got kale, chili, serrano, anise, more anise, but a different variety. Bok choy, this is going to be good for summer. Spinach, basil, heirloom. I've got capsicum. Look, most of these I'm going to plant in the thing. Radish, marshmallow, gourd. I'm going to put these in here, and this is the top, and then I'll work it out. Okay, bean climbing. I'm just going to put this over the community garden section because I'm going to plant them straight in. Eggplant. No, I'm not going to sprinkle them. I'm going to do them in the seeding. Sweet corn, community garden. I'm doing a chunk of corn down there. Cucumbers, again, seedling tray. Jalapenos. And these are Portuguese butter beans. So I'm going to put these with the community garden. And then I've got a lot of sections of the top garden where I'm going to plant beans, but I don't want to plant them yet because I need to enrich the soil more. So I can put these seeds away. I think we're pretty much done with sorting the seeds now. I have no idea what that is. But this has got seeds on there. When you get these bags and you get to the end of them and you've just got this mix, just create a seed bed and just throw it all in there, you know. These are parsley. I'm gonna I need to get some containers for these. They're the mustard greens, and, but I can worry about that later. I can just leave them like that. So there we go. We've got some jars ready. And getting that ready for down at the garden. Go for some more taro down there. This will be a good learning experience for me, is to see. Look, I accidentally, some of these taro have gotten a little bit of mold on them, but I don't think that that's going to stop it. I mean, you can see this has got growth. So in fact, that mold could be what's triggering it to grow. This one's, see, it's got like a sucker there. So that's for down at the garden. So is this ginger. I know it might sound confusing when I keep saying down at the garden, but I've got the community garden and I've got space at home to plant. So, you know, if anyone's interested to talk about this stuff, just send me an email, and my email's on the page there. And, you know, tell me what the environment is like. Where you live, what space you have, and we'll work out a way to see what you can grow. because you can grow stuff anywhere. You know, if you don't have a garden, you can grow inside your house. If you don't, you know, I mean, even if you're homeless, even you can go and just grow stuff out in public. Find a place that's no one's using, and then just plant. You know, council might come along and dig it up or something like that, but you know, you might be lucky. You could even ask someone if you could plant some stuff in their garden. There's lots of people, especially elderly people, that don't have they can't garden anymore. So if you don't have space for a garden, maybe somehow find someone that you could become friends with and garden, use a portion of their garden and give them some of the harvest that you get from it. And I'm sure that they would appreciate the connection, because there's a lot of lonely people. Okay, I'm finding, before I just finish here, I'm just going to get the last of these seeds and just I don't think there's any in here. Oh no, look at that. That's what I didn't do. Community garden. I do want to plant some daikon. So I'm just going to get a couple of these seed pods. And that's not for the community garden. Where's my container for that? Up here. I'm getting carried away. I'm going to get the last of these seeds. And so this is all learning to see what grows. These are all different environments. All right. So this is like a subtropical environment, a lot of shade, these two sections, bit more moisture. Here, very dry and arid, and the ground is compacted. And then we go up into in between that and the very top garden, you know. And so I'll try and show you what it looks like in there. You know, that one, they don't all have the same amount because I've put different amounts in different areas. All right. I'm wondering whether I should put some shoes on. Oh, I don't really need them. So let's go plant some stuff, hey? We'll start with these ones. We'll go oh, we had a turret fall out. Okay, I better put it back onto mobile data as well before I go too far. Turn the camera around so you see me. There we are. Hey everyone. My phone's down to 50% too, so just know that it could drop out sometime. I'll show you the garden that we planted recently. So if anyone remembers, or anyone was here or watched the video, where this garden, I fully, you know, tilled it and rejuvenated the soil and added like compost and mulch, and then specifically planted things. This was, I think that this is like the plant that was already there, and there is going to be some of it come up, and that's fine. So these little bits of green, these are all seedlings. This stuff's called, it's like a turtle weed. I don't mind it, but I'm just taking it out in places just so I don't get confused with what the other seedlings are. See, there's some more of it. Look at that. Look at that. So these seeds were just thrown in, just sprinkled in. And then we got rain, look at that. These are broadleaf parsley, and look at, it's got its first leaves on. So they look like pea seed, like the first leaves are different. See how they look like apples or something? Then you get starting to turn into your more regular. There's a little one. And it's amazing. You think, oh, these things aren't going to push their way up. Another one. But they do. So after we had a thunderstorm last week, and it just came through, and there's another one. Another one. And that's the turtle weed, but that's fine. Bunch of it there, more bunch of it. But then again, there's got 1, 2, 3, 4. One up the back there, up in the corner. And we're seeing there's something striking there. I think that's the start of a taro. It is. So I'll just give that a little bit of leaves over it so it keeps the moisture in. So I'm not going to do anything here today because I will. I am going to sprinkle a few seeds in here. Why not? There's plenty of space. So as I walk down this lower garden, it may be that it goes a bit pixelated. Okay. There's another job I'll be doing soon, is to clear out the old pond and clean it up, and then go and collect some tadpoles and some fish and some crayfish from down at the creek. And I've got a pump there to put in, so I'll think about setting that up, but it's an AC pump, not a DC one, so I've got to run a power lead out. So, you know, I'll think about whether I actually use it or not. I might see what I can do. I want to get a solar powered aerator. Another thing too, see all the leaves in the pond? It's under these massive trees. So, like, it's constantly getting leaves in it, which is fine to a point, but then it gets so saturated that, you know, I mean, it's the little fish in that, and the crayfish and the tadpoles gives them food and things to, but it changes the pH of the water after a while. So I've still got to do a lot of work down here, but like getting this going. But okay, so I've got an idea for this pond to, I'll stand back so you can see, is to put a chicken wire up the top above it so that you can actually catch, so above the pond it'll catch the leaves, and then I can, you know, sort that out. Here's a sculpture I made when I was in art college, and it never really finished it. Okay, so this sculpture is meant to be like, have 4 plants growing out of it. So that'll be something that I do, is I'll fill this up with soil, because I have been filling it up on the inside. But see how it's all broken down? But it's a great habitat for animals. So I'm going to fill that up with soil, and then I'll plant that up with different things. So all through this garden here is on the banks there is where I'm going to be planting the taro, in amongst these palms, and it'll just be a good way for me to see what grows. And then this is quite dry down here, and there isn't much space. I mean, this is not a food garden here. Oh look, we've got a bush turkey. It's gone across the fence. And they love taro. See, that's the other thing. So when I plant stuff down here, bush turkey's probably going to come and eat everything. But you know, in through here, there's just enough light. So this is going to be difficult for me to plant. And so what I might do is I'll set the camera up. Set this up in that spot where I dug that out, and I just realised this is in another basin pond. So there is water in there. So this would be a good experiment. I know that in all through Southeast Asia and Polynesia, I mean, these are Polynesian food, but into Hawaii, they plant these in, there's this amazing Hawaiian growing method. I forget what it's called, but they're like terraces in valleys, in sort of gullies of creeks. But yeah, I'm not going to put this big one in. I'll put this one in. And we're going to see, I'm not going to put it in too low. In fact, we'll just see what happens. This could actually not be good for it. And there isn't, the soil depth here is only about 6 inches, so it might not be deep enough for the taro. But that's a project again, to do something like this. open a bit so I know where it's planted. I just planted the ginger up behind there, which is next to another set of like an ornamental ginger, because I know it grows there, so why not? There's a spot here, I'll put the camera over here. At least I'm at the last of the taro. There's a really good spot here. Very important to plant the taro the right way up. You can plant it on its side. It's okay to do that, but you get better results going the right way up. One cup's empty. Okay, so Incan squash. I'm gonna plant it way over there. I was trying to decide where to plant this one, but I won't worry about it today. Got this one here. well just learning about where the good environment is for these different plants to grow. There is more space for taro over that side, so I might get a couple more. So I don't know if you can see, it's last. I'm gonna these will be sprinkled. I'll just so I've got ginger and pigeon pea, and I've got taro all through there, and I could probably get a few more taro. I might go get a few, because this section here, I've been building up this soil for years, and it's very nutritious by the look of it, so I could plant more in here and maybe some up in there, so I'll get like 4 or 5, so just bear with me, I'll be back in a minute. So we got taro, one over there, and then we got pea and sprinkles of other stuff, mustard greens, and so I haven't been checking the chat because I'm doing this. Hope everyone's doing good. So that's one section done. I was going to sprinkle a few down. I was going to sprinkle a few there. I don't want to overcrowd it, but I think daikon would grow well there. But I may as well conserve what I've got there. Yeah. Alrighty, let's go up the backyard. Everyone want to see the possum? The possum's probably sleeping. So let me know in the chat if you see the possum, okay? Because I won't be able to see it. And oh yeah, we might be able to. Yep, she's there. Can you see the possum? I want to wake her up. I'll show you again. Yes. We got Paige here. How you going, Paige? Paige says I do. So we'll show you again. She's having a good sleep. It's not too hot today. Oh, you can see her face. Okay. We'll go back and have another look. Is she looking at us? I'll see. They do prefer leafy greens like spinach and stuff. It'll probably wake her up when I throw this up there. Then she'll go back to sleep, and then she'll know that there's some food there. I will cut the bit of tune off, so it's not. Check out the mural. Awesome, eh? My mum painted that when I was a kid. Or it was there when she was painting it, so she'd have. Oops. Let's see what happened. Anyone see her? sure that would have woken her up. Anyway, there's some put this in the compost, the fermented stuff. So yeah, throwing that apple up there was a bit rude because it would have woken the possum up, but at least it let it know that there's a bit of food there. You're not meant to feed possums, but I only do it every so often. I mainly only ever do it when basically we're in drought, you know, and their food supply's short, so just helping them. So well, I'm just going to keep going until the battery goes flat. And Paige says she didn't move at all, haha. And check it out, this poinciana tree, I wired it into the wire for this wire that goes across between the two arches. So there's going to be a lot of, I didn't think there'd be many grapes this year because it's so dry, but yes, there is. Check this out. We've got a yam coming up. And this is coming up after the water. I put the liquid fertilizer on the other day. How cool is that? And there's more, there's yams and there's I think there's 2 yams in there and taro. And there's the cocoa yam over there. But it's awesome. I love it. Look at this. Cassavas. They're all the cassava and all the sugar canes growing. See, I have to put these cages on things because the bush turkeys just love them. And over here, look. Taro. We got stuff everywhere. Something's living there. And then, yeah, see? Sugar cane. And we've got cucumbers. Got quite a few cucumbers growing on there. So I'll get back to the planting, eh? Oh no, I'll show you. I'll do more of a tour. So here's my sort of pile of sticks. This is, you know, the problems with the bush turkeys, all these sticks are going to become a barrier for them. So I'll lay them all down. But yeah, bananas going good. Sugarcane striking. When I cut this mulberry, because it was rotting at higher up, I cut it. The bush turkey came along straight away and just knocked all that, and I was really upset. But obviously it's not enough to